Hey, thank you for watching this video. There's more online at Embark Online. You can tweet me, and of course, here's the Pie Guy. All right, this is first grade, Module 5, Lesson 10, and in this lesson, we're going to take our understanding of fractions, specifically halves and quarters. That's the international symbol for quarter. And we are going to connect that understanding to clocks and telling time. Today in this lesson, we're going to be constructing a clock out of paper, and we're going to number it. I'm also going to show you a nice little GeoGebra applet that I created that you might be able to use to display on the screen to show your students a clock in action. So let's get started on this. So the idea, parents and teachers, is when you give them this clock, you're going to give them a piece of paper, and the kids are going to cut it out carefully on that line right there. But then the idea is we need to number it. And we want to show our students how to number it and, kind of get intimately familiar with the guts of that clock, like the numbers, right? And so we're going to start, in my mind, we're going to help them start somewhere. And we'll start at the top with 12. I find that that's probably the easiest, so we're going to start with a 12 right there. Then the idea is we want students to count steps. They're going to see lines and they're going to see wedges, but we really want to see them pay attention to intervals of time. So if we're going to start here at 12, and then we're going to go forward. So we're going to start here at 12, and then we're going to say 1. And so we'll label that 1, and then 2, and we'll label that 2, and then 3. And that idea is we're going to laboriously emphasize making that interval jump. And then we're going to have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and of course we wrap up back where we started with that given, that 12, instead of saying 0. And so again, we're really going to be focusing on the intervals, that making those hops, starting at 12, and we're going to say 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. Now, I do have this GeoGebra app that I've created here, and the idea is you can use this GeoGebra app let's get it a little bit bigger here, and to show them what a clock looks like. And the idea is we're just going to start at midnight or at 12, and we want students to show that as the minutes are clicking by, and that's the blue arrow, the blue hand, but we also want students to recognize that the hour hand is also kind of slowly moving as we go, so that by the time the blue makes one full rotation, the red hand, the hour hand, has traveled one interval. So now it's 1 o'clock because the minute hand has gone around 1 time. And then again, we can keep going, and we can show the students that as that clock, the minute hand makes one full rotation, that the hour hand has advanced 1 interval. So of course we've got the 60 minutes, and the hour hand travels 1 hour. And that's the idea. Now, parents and teachers, you can use this app to hide, to hide the digital clock if you want. And so you can show students that the time is clicking, and you can ask students, well, what time is it now? And they could say, oh, it's 3 o'clock, and then you can show the digital clock to show that, yep, indeed, it is correct. It is 3 o'clock, and you can move anywhere you want and say, now what time is it? And we're going to be sticking with that hour, sticking on the hour. So now what time is it? And of course, we want our students to recognize that the minute hand is at 12, the hour hand, in this case, shooting off at the 8. So we do want our students to recognize, oh, now it is 8 o'clock, and we can click on that digital clock button to reveal that, yep, it indeed is 8 o'clock. Now, if you want, you can turn off the clock hands, and you can, let's do right there. So now you can see that the digital clock is saying 6 o'clock. What time is the analog hands? Where are those analog hands? So we can click the prediction and let the students decide what is that clock going to look like, and then we can reveal the actual clock hands to see that, oh, yep, it was identical. And there we go. And that's the idea of how you might want to use this GeoGebra applet. Now, where is this GeoGebra applet? There is your URL. It's kind of big, it's bulky, it's right here. It is case sensitive, so pay attention to that. So you might want to pause your video and go to this URL, and you can actually play with it on your own iPad or laptop. So now that the students have had plenty of time goofing around with the clock, playing with it and figuring out how it works, we are going to match each clock to the time it shows and to the digital. So it's a twofer here. Okay, so we're going to look at this, and we're going to look at this clock, and let's zoom in. And we can see, well, what time does this clock say? Well, we see the minute hand is at 12, and that the hour hand is shooting off towards the 2. So we're going to say, oh, look at that. It is pointing to 2 o'clock. So we're going to connect this clock to the 2, right down here, and then we need to go up here to the digital. And that's the idea for this lesson, is we are going to connect the analog to the number to the digital. Let's do one last one. Let's take a look at this one, D. So we're going to zoom in on D, and we're going to say, what time is that? Well, the minute hand is pointing at the 12. The hour hand is pointing at the 4. So that means it's pointing to 4 o'clock. And so our 4 o'clock is right here, and then the digital goes way down there. And that's the idea for this slide. Moving on, we're getting a little bit more difficult. We're increasing the complexity because we've removed some scaffolding. Now the student has to draw in the hour hand on the clock so that it matches. So in this case, we want to make the clock say 6 o'clock. So we are going to, I'm going to make my pen just a little bit thicker, and we are going to say, well, we want that clock to go towards 6 o'clock. Now, parents and teachers, you don't need to be all picky if they, about whether they make the hour hand shorter than the minute at this point. Let's focus on, is it pointing the right direction? We can worry about the length later. Let's do B. We want it to look at 9 o'clock. So our hour hand is going to point at 9, and we are going to then write in 9 o'clock, like that. And that wraps up a fun one. That's first grade Module 5, Lesson 10. We're constructing paper clocks. We're using that GeoGebra applet to play and learn the basics of time. And we're telling time to the hour. Hey, by the way, please subscribe.